this is Ben Clark with People Skate and Snowboard, and I'm here to debunk some of the common ski race tuning dogma that makes snowboarders think that tuning is not for them. First of all, when you're doing stuff like this to your snowboard, there's absolutely nothing you're going to do with hand tools that is nearly as damaging. So what I want you to think about is you're trying to return your snowboard to its original factory condition as much as possible. Every time you use your snowboard, it's going to be doing a little bit of damage. That's just the nature of snowboarding. I want you to think about a snowboard as being more like a baseball bat than a car. You want any baseball player who's a hitter has marks on their bat. Just like a snowboarder, any snowboarder who is a good snowboarder is going to have marks on their board. Don't sweat the small stuff. It's not a car. You should use it. So a common question we get is, when does a snowboard need wax? Snowboard needs wax when you start seeing it look kind of ashy, like dry skin. You can use your nail and scrape off some of that surface ash, and it will come off. That's the point where your board wants some wax. A standard tune has 5 steps. Prep the base, tune the edges, wax the board, scrape the wax off, and finish brushing. The first step is prepping the base. I like to use isopropyl alcohol. Some people might think that's a little aggressive, but over the years I found it strips the paint and the gunk, the oils and stuff that we have in Midwest parks the best. You know, it's totally fine to use citrus base cleaner, but I like that this just like quickly removes stuff kind of aggressively, and it cleans, like paints off a lot. Once I've saturated the base and wiped it down, I'll take a razor blade and vertically move it across the base, trying to shave down any pieces of base material that are sticking up or any loose hairs that are from gouges in the base. So the second step is cleaning up edges. So there's 2 tools that I like to use for that. One is a file, and then the other is a diamond stone. To clean up the edges, I'm going to first run my finger along the board. I'll identify the areas that have burrs. You can feel them, they kind of catch your fingertips as you run along it. This board has a lot of them. So you're going to be filing the bottom side and then the top side. You use a file when you need to remove a lot of material. You use a diamond stone when you need to remove a little bit of material. So for general maintenance, most people will be fine just using a diamond stone. There's a coarse or a medium. Coarse if you're rougher on your edges or have bigger burrs to remove. Medium is good for kind of sharpening and polishing and really getting that fine finish. When you use a diamond stone, you can physically see like rust and like discoloration on the edge. What you're trying to do is polish that off. If you hold the diamond stone too flat, you're going to be making contact with the base and you're not going to be really sharpening it. You want to really feel that diamond stone gripping the metal. That's how you know that you're doing something to your edge. So what I want people to understand about using a file is that you are pulling this file across the edge. I like to set my knuckles under it because I'm putting a big base bevel into it. You can feel the difference when you're pulling a file across base material. It's kind of slick and it doesn't feel like it's pulling. When you're pulling on metal, it really like grips. So I like to put my knuckles under it and pull this way. You can be more aggressive with it or less aggressive with it, but one of the most important things you want to remember is you're not pulling it so that you're grabbing base material. So one of the common things that we get people asking us about is detuning your edges. I like to detune my edges, which means putting an aggressive base bevel on the edge between my bindings and while leaving my contact points sharp. Some people like to detune the whole board. Some people don't do tune at all because they're not sliding sideways through rails, doing board slides. The third step is putting down the wax. This is a real straightforward step, but the basics are that you want to set your iron so that it's not smoking, which in this one is usually about 90 degrees Celsius. Sometimes it smokes a little bit, that's okay. You just really don't want it smoking a lot. As soon as you touch wax to it, it will cool it down some. I like to move in vertical lines while I'm laying the wax down, and then I'm going to smooth it out and get that wax to incorporate across the whole base. I want you to be looking for any pits in the base where the wax doesn't incorporate as well, and make sure you're filling those too. Now that the wax is smoothly incorporated, I need to let it get back to room temperature. When it cools down, those pores contract and seal the wax in. So I don't want to scrape it while it's hot. I will normally bring my board outside so it cools down a little bit quicker, and it's real easy to feel if the board is still retaining heat. So the fourth step is scraping. It's my least favorite step because it's a lot of work on the hands. There are two types of scrapers. There is a plastic scraper, and then there is a metal scraper. The plastic scraper is not my favorite because it dulls quickly and it's a lot more work to use. I prefer a metal scraper. The dogmatic folks who tune might tell you that a metal scraper is going to do damage to your base. However, I'm riding my board with my 180 pounds on rocks, rails, roots, whatever. It's really hard to imagine that this scraper with my hand pressure is going to do more damage than anything that I'm doing while riding. So I prefer a metal scraper. You want to pull from the nose to the tail, but if you're riding a twin board in two directions, it matters less. And you're going to try to remove all of the wax from the base of the board. You don't want to see anything. So there's little pits under the bindings, and maybe where you've done gouges along the edges. You're gonna kind of flex that scraper and pull. It's important that you're pulling with like a 45-degree angle. You don't really want to be doing it this direction, despite it not doing any real damage. It's just it's more likely to skip or like kind of gouge or mar up the base. So it's best to kind of pull with a 45-degree angle, and you want to remove all of that wax. That's the hard part. The last step in waxing is brushing. There's two kinds of brushes that I use frequently, the nylon brush and the horsehair brush. The nylon brush is the one that's crucial. You should always have a nylon brush. You're going to run vertical lines from nose to tail. That is going to create like little lines in the wax and in the board base. That is going to break up water and make it more like little ball bearings. So by breaking that water up as the friction's created, it's going to make you go faster. So the nylon's important. The other thing that nylon's important for is you're going to have pits and like spots where there's still wax on the base despite all of your best efforts scraping. So this nylon brush is going to help you push through that and clear that surface wax off of the board much better than simply scraping. And you can finish with a horsehair brush. With a horsehair brush, I like to run on 45-degree angles down the base and in both directions, and it gives it like a nice diamond finish. Going back to that whole breaking up of the water, it does that the best, I find. So I like that structure pattern the best. And that is my tuning tutorial for the day. Hope that you enjoyed it and learned something. Thank you.